let's jump into it. I am Johnell and with my guy Matt Price Cash Walk in. This is Heat Check powered by Designated Report. And there's been a lot going on in the NBA the last, I don't know, a week or so. Trade deadlines coming up. We've got All Star weekend, not this weekend, but the following weekend. And it's kind of taken a little bit of the shine from the Super Bowl. I've heard a lot of people saying they're not too interested in
Yeah,
it. It's a rematch from a couple years ago. People don't like
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. A
the
lot
whole
of people
thing.
don't like the Eagles and their fans. So I don't know. It feels like it's been a little quiet around the NFL and the
It
Super
has.
Bowl this week, but
Yeah.
in the next couple days, I'm sure it'll pick up. But the NBA's been king, I feel like, the last week or so.
Yeah, definitely. Even the sports morning shows, like I was watching Get Up this morning, shout out to Greeny, and they led again like 2 days in a row with the Luka Doncic AD trade. Like
Yeah,
he's got his football guys in there. I mean, this is the week of the Super Bowl. Usually that show
exactly.
is like very football heavy. First take, very football heavy. But like they're leading their shows talking about like speculative things within the NBA. So I mean, this was like I
Yeah,
said, a seismic change within the league, and just a huge moment in the NBA. Like it
yeah,
changed everything. It changed everything. It's
I
and
agree.
I love it. I love it.
And speaking of seismic changes, Dan Patrick, he's got his show and he had Adam Silver, the commish, on,
Mm,
I think this was last week. And one of the questions that came up, Dan Patrick was just like, when you guys gather around the table and talk about, where the league is, where it's going, rule changes and things like that, he was just kind of like, Adam, what's the wildest thing that's come to the table? And he kind of rattled off a few, things that they've talked about, shortening the quarter lengths. Um, I think he was talking about like in the last 2 minutes. um, in the last 2 minutes, if you get fouled on a 3-point shot and you make it, like you get the ball back to, or like two free throws or something like that, like
yeah,
wild stuff that they're like tossing out there, kind of experimenting with and possibly implementing. I know you've seen the video, but
yeah.
of all the things Adam Silver said that they have discussed, was there anything that kind of stuck out to you where you're like, you know what, that might be a good idea? And if not, do you have any ideas that you would like to see on the NBA table for negotiations?
So the one thing that really jumped out to me, and it's not something that I'm for, but it's something that I understand that they want to do, is reducing the time. I don't think that you need to reduce the time of the quarters from from 12 down to 10. That was what he suggested: 12
Right.
minutes to 10-minute quarters. I am making it a 40-minute game. I don't like that. I think the 48-minute game is what makes it pro basketball because they play 40 minutes in college. If you play 40 minutes or 32 minutes, I think, in high school. It's like
Yep.
8-minute quarters
Eight
in high
minute
school.
quarters.
So, yeah, so it is what separates you from all the other levels of basketball, and that's what makes it pro. So, where do we go from there? I think, yeah, you lead the times, but what they need to do is work on these things that are extending these games, like the review time. I think that I don't know exactly what the fix is, right? But I think that they need to just keep looking every year, and every year they should be making adjustments to their review process, what they choose to review and not to review. I just think that it'll cut down a lot of stuff. It'll cut down on the players arguing and doing all this stuff, holding up things, delay of games. It'll cut down on, like, at the end of the games, every single thing getting reviewed. I think that
Yep.
the league and there should be another ref right there. Like, we have replays
Like
playing
an
back so
expedited.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like expedite that so that it's not in the coach's hands anymore. They don't have to have a guy on the second row looking at the big screen. Okay, yeah, no, challenge it and doing that type of stuff. Like, you don't even have to. It'll save everybody money at the end of the day, and it'll save time in the game. So if there's a change that I am for, that's it. I do understand the business side of it. Like, on the broadcast end of it, you want the games to be, no more than 2.5 hours long. Like, that's
Absolutely.
like really 2 hours is where their sweet spot is, because that's just the culture today of entertainment and TV. Like, it's hard to get a set of eyes for 2 straight hours without having an outstanding product. And yes, there's some nights where the NBA, like, I mean, the games are crazy. We've seen some great games, especially in this calendar year. There's been a lot of great performances,
I agree.
great games. The league is good. Like, they got great players. The future is bright for the NBA. But I think if you're looking at changes and you're looking at trying to squeeze all the excitement into a smaller package, that's the way I would go about it. I would go about taking the calls and these things that are slowing the game down, that are like while the ball's not bouncing and while it's not in play, take those things and speed that up. And then I think that will help
That's
the
fair.
product a lot.
So, same vein, but a little different was my thinking. So, again, Adam Silver said that he was a fan of it. He said he understood a lot of other people wouldn't be, going from a 48 to a 40-minute game.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go in the opposite direction. I say let's do 4 15-minute quarters.
Extend it.
Give us an hour, but then
Absolutely.
let's shorten the length of the season. So instead
For
of
what they're charging
82,
at the
let's do
Garden,
66.
yeah, for what they're charging at the Garden, I want more.
As long as you can be there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and I do understand like logistically a lot of things would change. So I'm thinking like 66 games start
Yep.
on Christmas, and
Okay.
then you can do the in season tournament. Do that like April
Yeah.
after All Star break, after March Madness. Do it sometime
Everything.
in April, and that kind of ramps up towards the playoffs. But
Yeah.
I think
And make that tournament something that there needs to be implications into the playoffs.
yeah,
I feel like that would make it like, because then you could get like a team that's like fringing or had injuries or something like that. That like a team like Philly right now,
yeah,
like they were missing their best players earlier in the season. They've been dealing with injuries. If they get healthy and they win the in season tournament, and that gives you a guaranteed bid into the play in or the playoffs, and you get to play yourself in, I
yeah.
think that would be dope.
I like that. I like that idea, honestly, a lot. Um,
If you're going to play at that time of year, I think that's like, it encourages guys to play that kind of, and that's kind of the draggy part of the season. Things are kind of decided. You know where you're going to be. You know you're not going to win your division, but if you know there's still a shot that you could get
yeah,
into the playoffs, I think that it'll increase the competition level at that time, late March, early April. Excuse me, when teams are heading into the playoffs, and the teams that are out, they're like, we're out. And the
yeah,
teams that are in and they're firmly in a 2 or a 3 or like they're kind of mailing it in. They're sitting guys out with weird excuses like sore ankle, sore hamstring. You know what I mean? All that stuff like
yeah,
that. That reasonable. But yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
Because as you were talking through it, like the idea of the in season tournament in December, end of November or December, is to because they know that the players aren't really playing early
Yeah,
in the year, and it's not load management. It's just like it doesn't matter until the second half of the season. Obviously, you want to win, but the sense of urgency is not there.
yeah,
So to have the in-season tournament closer to the playoffs, like you said, I don't know if winning it gets you an automatic bid or something like that,
yeah.
but um, I think some sort of incentive for the playoffs because, like you said, you get teams like Philly, you get somebody like the Bucks where they turn things around after
Yeah,
winning the in-season tournament.
yeah,
Um, so I don't know. Again, it's not nothing's going to happen anytime soon,
yeah.
but I like we've been talking about shortening the season for years.
I think
So,
that's huge.
shorten the
It's
season,
got
kind
to
of
happen at some point.
we'll see.
It would be unprecedented for sure, because like every other league is extending. I mean, except for baseball. But I mean, the NFL, they're talking about, hey,
yeah,
maybe 18. We could do, you know what I mean? They're trying to extend their seasons. And I think that for the NBA, exactly, like, it just shortening the season would just add to the pressure of
yeah,
having to show up and play every night.
every night.
Because if you miss, like, this is how close it is now. Like, and I think that would just help for making each game matter, that there was less of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, every year I feel like they kind of experiment, preseason exhibition
Yeah.
games. Um G League, just some of these ideas, and we'll see what they come up with. I mean, Adam Silver, for what it's worth, I know there's some people that are critical of him. I think he's been fantastic as commissioner of the NBA.
Yeah.
Um, so I do trust him and trust that team that he has around him to do what they think is in the best interest of the NBA. So we'll see. We'll see.
Shout out to Adam.
So we are recording today. It's Wednesday the 5th. Tomorrow is the trade deadline. We've seen some more moves throughout the day. Nobody as big as the Luca and Anthony Davis trade. Obviously, we saw Zach LaVine get moved. Some other players. Um, Outside of that Luca AD trade, is there a move, maybe an under the radar move, that you feel is going to be significant the back nine of this season?
Well, obviously the one that happened today, the Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. Sorry, Chris Middleton. I mean, I
Yep.
apologize. This is our sorry. I mean, this guy brings you a championship or helps you
Yeah.
get secure a championship, and then you send him to Siberia for it. I mean, that's tough, man. I mean, but I understand Milwaukee. The time is now. They got Dame. He's not getting any younger. They got Giannis. He is in the prime of his prime. So
Yes.
you got and I love the addition of Kyle Kuzma to that duo. He's like the perfect player to squeeze in between the two of them because he doesn't need it every time. But if one of them is having a down night, you could count on Kyle Kuzma to like be ready to go. He plays with high energy. He's a long athletic player. He's got all the skills. He can score inside and outside. And defensively, is he like a go getter?
No.
We don't know, but I think on a team that's competing and winning, I mean, you could see a change in attitude for him, and that could lead to a change in production on that end of the floor. So I think that's the next biggest thing. I have to shout out though, like I am extremely excited to see De'Aaron Fox
Me too.
join that Spurs team
Me
with
too.
Wembenyama, and the fact that they didn't really have to give up any of
No.
the pieces. I thought they were gonna have to throw Castle in with that.
It's
I thought
crazy, all
or
these
or
trades.
Vassell. Like
Yeah.
these guys are just Castle and Vassell and Sohan. Like all three of those guys, you could have taken any one of those guys. I think it still got that trade if you're Sacramento. But yeah, another bad move in a sequence of bad moves that they have been rolling in. I think it was a mistake to let go of Mike Brown. I think that I think it was a mistake to bring DeMar DeRozan in. I think that I mean they've just
It's
it just
crazy.
hasn't.
Yeah.
They've had it and they were doing it and then
Yeah.
they stopped doing it.
Yeah. And
They got in their own way.
couple years ago, it looked like their trajectory was astronomical. Like
Yeah,
they were taking all the strides
they
of
had it.
becoming a really good team. And
Scott was coach of the year and they fired him already.
yeah, yeah, it's wild.
It's
Um,
a cold league, yo. Cold ass league.
it's a business, man. It's a business.
Wild, yo.
Um, so yes, that Bucks trade, I wasn't too excited about it. Um, Middleton oft injured, so I get it. You know, your best ability is availability, and I think last year he was relatively healthy, but 2 out of the last 3 years, I think he played like 30 games a year.
Yeah, been
So
rough.
having Kyle Kuzma, who he could be a firecracker at times, but
Yeah,
he's going to be available to you 60, 65 games out of the year. So that production is better than no production, obviously,
absolutely.
if Chris Middleton's out.
Absolutely.
Um, Obviously, the most significant move was um, the Hornets and the Thunder swapping 2029 and 2030 second round picks. So like
Like, what is even the point of that? Exactly. Y'all just wasting minutes on
yeah.
the phone.
Uh, but no, you touched on the Kings, and obviously I don't know if it's a rebuild, but it's certainly a retool. They got a haul of draft picks
Yeah, they did.
from a million teams. I think they
Yeah.
got like 7 or 8 draft picks
Yeah.
over the next 6 years. So obviously they're stockpiling to maybe be able to flip them for a player, or maybe they're just going to try to build through the draft. You've been a huge advocate of building through the draft.
Yeah.
We saw with OKC, we saw with
They're stuck
Minnesota.
financially to Zach LaVine and DeRozan though. Like it just doesn't matter. And then you just paid
Yeah,
Sabonis, so it's like I don't understand what they're doing
it's
exactly. You were right there. You were winning. You were winning,
yes,
and now
yes,
you're rebuilding again
yeah.
for reasons I don't know.
Unbeknownst,
I get that De'Aaron's not. He said like if he didn't sign an extension, like that's a signal to what's going on, like
yeah,
exact how he feels. But you know, you could make the moves that you need to make and see if this guy turns it around. You still got another 2 years to, you know. I
yeah,
just, yeah.
yeah,
If you're winning, you're not gonna be as inclined. I think that was after a rough year where they just missed the playoffs after
yep,
a year that they were so good, a 4 seed,
yep,
and that's that was discouraging to him to regress. So yeah, it's emotional like at that time of the year, and he's in the off season. Like, yeah, nah, I'm gonna look and see for free agency, and let's see what he's just basically saying. Let's see what happens this year, and they're like, well, we're gonna trade you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just think it's just like another team pulling the plug
Too
on a
early.
very, very talented player who could lead you somewhere
Yeah.
you don't even know. But now I know that as a co-star to that Wembenyama show in San Antonio, he's perfect. They run, they jump, they're young.
Yep.
That team is coming. They didn't have to give up anything. I mean, the draft picks are the draft picks, but they had those.
I and that was actually one of my other thoughts was the Spurs.
Yeah,
I just feel like I know there were conspiracies about like yeah, where they were the NBA was trying to get Wemby to San Antonio to work with Pop and blah 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 blah.
makes sense.
But I just feel like the Spurs have handled the situation, have handled Wemby so perfectly. Whether it was last year where he wasn't playing back to backs, they had him, kind of on a minutes restriction. But then this year they bring in Chris Paul, they make the trade to get DeAron Fox in, and they're not. I don't think the expectation is a championship this year, next year, maybe even the year after that. But in the next 3 to 5 years, Wemby is going to be in the MVP conversation every single
Scary
year.
every
And you
year.
added a shifty top 10 defender point guard who's
Who can go get
averaged
his own 25?
25 points a game
Yeah,
for
he
the
can go get
last
his own 25.
5 years.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what happens with that team.
Oh my God! I just got breaking news. Marina Mabrey requested a trade from the Sun. Yo, it's just the walls are
Bro,
falling down in Connecticut. We are just. This
yo,
is the basketball capital. What's happening? I'm sorry. That was breaking news. How did that just happen? Do
wow.
you have a text? Oh, you got yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yo, what's happening?
We lost it all.
I
The
mean,
whole starting lineup,
I
everything.
honestly can't say that I'm surprised, but like, wow,
I
wow,
love her. I want she was glowing up. We had her. Oh my
yo,
God.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean that the whole starting five gone. And Mabry, who we traded for, everybody gone. Like a completely different team in
Yo,
Connecticut.
and I don't blame her. I don't blame her.
I
I would
don't
be
either.
pissed. I would be pissed.
Alexa, stop dropping all this sad news. she's she's doing great work. Shout out to Alexa Filippo.
Yo,
But geez Louise, she's been
Ale-
breaking my heart for a week.
She's been cooking. She's been dropping all the news. But
She's been
damn,
breaking my
man.
heart for a week. My God. It's like every time I look at a tweet from her, it's like, oh, so and so's leaving. Like, dang.
Yo, and I was talking to Sean the other day, and it feels like Tasha hasn't, I feel like she hasn't even acknowledged that she's been traded. She
Yeah.
hasn't liked like any of the social media posts. She hasn't
Yeah.
reposted anything.
Nobody wants to come to
Bro,
Connecticut. It's so bad. They gotta get them to a better city. Like move the Connecticut Sun to like New Haven or something. They'll be lit out there. You will love it. Ladies, pizza. The pizza's great in New Haven.
I mean
The
they
life,
got
the
Pepe's
nightlife.
at they got
Yeah.
Pepe's
At
at
Mohegan, they
Mohegan,
do. They
but
do. So they know,
you
but it's
go
like the
to
real
the
Pepe's.
OG. Yeah, go to the
The
OG.
original Pepe's. The original. You gotta go to the original.
Man,
Crazy. Crazy. I'm sorry, I had to break some news.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I just like who's on the team. I don't know who's gonna be playing.
I do
Tina
not know.
Charles. She's the
Tina
only
Charles
one.
and Natasha Cloud are the
Maybe,
only players
maybe.
I know. Maybe. That's like
Oh my
there's
gosh,
paperwork that has to be signed that isn't signed.
this is unreal.
This is crazy. Who am I covering?
I
Who am I covering this year?
don't know. Don't know. I
Got a brand new coach. Coach don't got no players to coach. It's crazy.
This is wild.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, let's get back to it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's gonna make for some great content for us.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like
So Kent Bazemore. This is
yes.
kind of old news. Probably like
Yes.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But Kent Bazemore came out on his social media a few weeks ago, kind of touching the assumption is that he was talking about Bradley Beal. I don't know if he specifically said Bradley Beal
I
or
think
what.
that was the hint to the article, yeah.
Yeah, and basically he was saying the argument he was making is that the third option on a team is like considerably worse than being the sixth man on a roster. And again, assuming we're talking about Bradley Beal came from the Wizards where he was the number one option and came into a situation that had Book and KD, and you see him struggling to try to get acclimated to that team where he like fits in the offense, when he takes shot, when he defers, yada yada yada. And yeah, Kent Bazemore was basically just like the third option is terrible because now you're more of a 3 and D player as opposed to the sixth man who comes off the bench and basically has a green light. He's supposed to
Yeah.
be the spark plug coming off the
Yeah.
bench.
Just go cook.
Um, so, two-part question. One, does Kent Bazemore have a point in what he's saying? And which would you prefer if you were in the NBA, the third option on a team or the sixth man?
Okay. So yes, Kent has a point. And I actually agree with him, but I agree with him going either way. Like it depends on the team and it depends on the player,
I
right? So
100% agree. Yeah.
so okay, so my third option. Let's say for instance the Knicks. I would consider so the Knicks have Karl Anthony Towns and Brunson, right? This is
Yep.
the best example because that's the team I follow the closest. I watch every game.
Yep.
I would say those two are your top scorers. To me, their number three guy, it's not Bridges. It's Anunoby to me.
That's what I
And
figured. Yeah.
Anunoby is a defensive first guy, but he can score. Like he's led the Knicks in scoring four times in four games this year, and they're 3-1 in those four games. So like they can win when he scores, and they're very good when he scores well. But like his scoring average is really right where it was when he was at Toronto. He's at like 14 a game or something like that. Like it's a good number, and
Yeah.
he's their third option. Well, he's one of the most important players to that team because of what he gives. And then so their sixth man is Deuce McBride, who is that guy who they send in to come and play when Brunson comes off. So he's in there and he's with Cat a lot of times. So like
Hmm.
it's Cat's time to go. But the number two now, the Brunson of that lineup. So the Knicks, the way they're playing, they will always want to have two scoring threats on the court.
Yep.
That's the way they're
Yep.
playing. So then there's teams that you want your sixth man to be that to just be the leader of your second unit. Like for the Knicks, it's just they want a guy to be able to play with one of their starters who when it's his time to go. For another team, it could be like, nah, this guy who's the sixth man, he is our third option. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
is the guy I want to go. Like he's the one I'm bringing, like how Lou Williams was. When Lou Williams came in the game, he's one of the most famous ones that a lot of people who are younger will remember from recent history. Lou Will, when he came in, it was time to cook, and everybody knew it.
100%.
Whether there was a
Always.
starter on the court or not,
Yep.
it was Lou Will. He was running the offense. He was making the decisions. He was making the plays. He was doing everything. It was his time to cook. and everybody on the court knew that. So that was his job as a sixth man. But then you got a guy like Manu Ginobili, for instance, who was like a do it all kind of player. Like he come in, and if you need him to D up the best player while he's out there, with his second unit, that's what he'll do. If you
Yeah.
need him to cook and be backdoor cuts and just play off the ball and move around and keep the offense moving, that's what he'll do.
Yeah.
So it depends on the team, it depends on the player, it depends on what you need out of them for those
Yeah.
second unit moments.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And this is something that I had never really thought of prior to Kent Bazemore bringing it up, but I'm right there with you where I do think it varies player to player and team to team, just depending on what the team needs. So, you know, bless you,
Sorry.
bless you, bless you.
Sorry. I was
Uh,
trying to hold it in.
no, you're good. Um, so yeah, I mean the sixth man is, again, depending on the situation, your sixth man oftentimes is your number one option on the second unit.
Yeah,
So of course they're gonna come in. They, like you said with Lou Will, he's got full control of the offense. He's got a green light. If he has an open shot, he's taking it. Like the
fair.
expectation is in your 20 to 30 minutes on the court, you're gonna come in and give us a spark. You're gonna give us, you know, 12, 16 points, and on a good night, you might drop 25, 28, and really
Yeah.
boost that second unit. um the third option, and if we're going to use the Suns as like our as the team that we're talking about, KD and Book are going to get their 20 shots a game.
No matter
so
what.
so
No matter
Bradley
what.
Beal, he came from the Wizards where he was averaging a few years ago, but he was averaging 23 shots a game.
Yeah.
He's down to 13 shots. So his efficiency as far as like field goal percentage, 3-point percent, everything's about the same. He's
Yeah.
just not getting the same number of looks.
That's what it
So
is.
I think it really depends, like you said, on the player, on the situation. I think if I was in that situation and I have been established. Like I've been in the league for a while. Maybe won a scoring title as the number one option at some point, but I haven't been able to get over the hump to win a championship. Maybe at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'll take a backseat. I'll be the third option. I'll take my shots when they come, and
Yeah.
hopefully do my part to help lead this team to a championship. I also would like to think that I could and would come off the bench. Like if my numbers and my number of touches, my number of shots really meant that much to me, bring me in the second
Yeah.
unit. And
That's
now
fair.
I'm still gonna get my shots. Like obviously I'm not playing with the ones, but I'm gonna go out there and get me. Like
Yeah.
obviously I'm capable. I've done it. So I'm right there with you. It's a very interesting thought. But I don't think it's a blanket statement. I think it really varies player to player, team to team, and what the expectations are of said player in the role of that offense.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think that sometimes your sixth man is your third option, and I think that is if Phoenix, like I like that Coach Bud went that direction with Beal. Like it wasn't like a demotion. He's like, I'm gonna bring him off the bench because then he's gonna get his looks.
Yeah,
Like he gets his time on the court to just cook with a bunch of other what we know are bums in this second unit and
yeah,
just cook. Like it's all on you. I'm gonna try these guys setting screens for you the whole time. Like go out here and make middies and make threes and just dance. Do what you got to do. Go get your 17, 18 shots. You're not gonna get 23 shots anymore.
yeah,
Let it go.
yeah.
But you could get 17, 18. You know what I mean? If you go out there and do your thing in the second unit. So that's the way he needs to look at it.
And it's definitely a mentality thing because
Oh, for sure.
you mentioned Ginobili, and I remember there was conversation years ago, obviously, when there was talk about why Manu didn't want to be in the starting lineup, and again, it's a different way of thinking. Like same way, different sport, baseball. You have starting pitchers, you have relief pitchers. but the way they go about their job is completely different. A relief
Yeah.
pitcher is coming in to get 3 outs, 6 outs. So they're coming in, they're throwing gas for the 30 pitches that they're going to throw.
Nonstop. Yeah.
They're trying to throw it through the catcher.
Yeah.
Whereas the starter, they kind of got to pace themselves. They're trying to go 5, 6, 7 innings or whatever the case
Yeah.
is. So
You got to
it's just
set
a
guys
different
up.
mentality. Yeah, it's a different
Yeah.
mentality. And again, I hate to harp on it, but it really depends on the player. Depends on the player. Depends on their mentality. It depends on the offense that they are in. So, yeah, it was really interesting. Because, like I said, I hadn't thought about it until Kent brought it up, but it was something. It kind of tickled my brain to have to kind of dive into it and see what I think I would do. Um, so I wanted to do something a little different, and I saw this online someplace.
I'm
I
prepared for
apologize.
this.
Yeah, I apologize for not remembering who I saw it from or where I saw it, but I wanted to do an exercise where we make an all-time starting five plus the sixth man, only using players who start with your first initial. So for me,
Oh
it'll
yeah.
be J. For you, it'll be M.
Yes.
Do you want to go? And then I do want this will be a clip. I want the people to let us know which team would win, my
All
team or your team. So
right.
you want to go first? Actually, let's go 1-1. So we'll go point guard all the way down. Um,
Okay.
I'll let you start first if you're ready. Point
You
guard.
want to
Who's your point
point
guard?
guard? For point guard, okay, I got Mark Jackson.
Mark
Mark Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah, Mark Jackson. You gotta understand where I'm coming from. He's got like when you hear my whole team, you're gonna understand where I'm at. A
Okay.
distributor, a facilitator, a
Yeah.
player who's gonna just distribute for these other players that I have. I can
Fair enough.
when you get the whole team, you'll understand where he's at.
So I almost want to change mine. I had two for point guard. I'm gonna stick with my initial gut. I'm gonna go Jerry West.
Okay, is Jerry West a point guard?
He is
I thought he was like a shooting guard, but
because
like just had the ball all the time.
he was getting buckets. Nah, he was
Yeah.
a point guard. Shooting guard. Who you got?
I got Michael Jordan.
Of course, of
Yeah, of
course.
course. Yeah, enough said. I don't gotta explain. I don't gotta explain. I know you wearing his shoes right now while you're watching this.
They're banned. You can't be wearing them.
Can't
Um,
ban these. Unbannable.
um,
Run the check, Mike.
Shooting guard, I'm gonna go James Harden.
You hate James Harden.
I do, but prime James Harden was
Yeah, that's true.
cooking.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Small forward, who you got?
Yo, so my lineup is a 3 guard lineup.
Okay.
So I'm going with Mitch Richmond.
Oh my gosh, I
Y'all
love
don't
Mitch
remember
Richmond.
Mitch Richmond. A lot of people don't remember Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond, late 80s, 90s, and all through the 90s was cooking for the Warriors and the Sacramento Kings.
Yep,
Lethal shooter,
yep.
great defensive player. He was a part of for the historians out there, Run TMC, Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullin, and Mitch Richmond. That was the M in that situation. Yeah, man. It's crazy. Crazy.
So small forward. So initially small forward, I was gonna go Jason Tatum, also a player that I don't love, but I ended up swapping him out. I'm gonna go with the Doctor, Dr. J, Julius
Julius.
Irving.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I just size, athleticism. Again, Jason Tatum, great scorer. Um, Give me
Boston's
Dr.
gonna
J.
hate you for this. They're
Give
gonna
me Dr.
hate
J.
you. They're like, dude, you got Dr. J over. They did beat the Celtics one time
They
in
did.
the playoffs. They won a
They did.
championship.
Power forward. Who you got,
Marcus Camby
bro?
from Hartford, Connecticut. From Harvard. He's a fellow Connecticut player, former Knick, shot blocking big, who's going to be able to defend the paint for me, a rim runner. He's got athleticism. He's a great player. Marcus Camby.
I
I don't even
count.
know who else would you think I would go with. I don't know why are you surprised at this. Marcus Camby, kidding me? That's a play. You don't remember? I see y'all sleeping on Marcus Camby.
I
Marcus
mean,
Camby was a stud.
he had that
Stud.
weird jump shot though.
He didn't need the jump shot. All he just throw alley oops. That's all
Man,
we're gonna do. Mark Jackson gonna be throwing them alley oops this whole time.
power forward. I'm gonna go James Worthy. I need him. We got
Okay.
James Worthy. We got Jerry West. I need him. I
A lot
need
of
him.
Lakers over there. A lot of Lakers.
Yeah, yeah. Center. Who you got?
Moses Malone. Three-time
Bro.
MVP, champion in 1983, or the 82-83 season, as we mentioned before, or as I mentioned before, to beat the Celtics, went on to beat the Lakers. Or the Rockets. Excuse me. Listen, this man famously came out of high school back when nobody was doing that.
Yep.
Literally, nobody was doing that. It was crazy. They was like, "Boy, you better go to college." He did that in a black family in the 70s. He told his mom and dad, "I'm going to college. I'm going straight to the league." That was uncommon, unheard of. But he
Yes.
made something. He made a career, a great career. He's a 20-point per game, 12 rebounds, career,
Yeah.
career,
Nah, Moses was cooking,
career
bro.
20 and
Yeah.
12, bro. Like a beast in the paint. So I like that. Listen, man, Moses Malone at the center spot, Marcus Camby. So I got Moses Malone also was a defensive player of the year. Uh, so you got that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Listen, this guy, he could play. We
You
got
know,
him and can be in the front court. Those are my defensive players. And then I got the 3 guard lineup, the 2 scorers, and Mike and Mitch, who go also 3 and D. Mark Jackson, he just distributed, facilitate into all that. Like, we out of here, man.
you
Like,
don't
you
you
can't
don't
score on my team.
you don't got enough scoring to keep up with us.
Yes, we do.
Center,
Mark,
Joel Embiid.
Moses,
Joel
oh, God.
Embiid.
He was kill. Yo, ask people in Philly. They say they take Moses Malone over Joel Embiid today, right now, even as they both are. Moses Malone healthier than Joel Embiid right now. Okay,
Yeah.
they'll take him right now.
Bro, my team,
And he and
we're
he has
outscoring
been.
you.
He left us in 2015, and he healthier than Joel Embiid.
Nah, we're outscoring you. Mark Jackson can't shoot. He can't score.
But
And
he
then
facilitates to Mike. Mike gonna score 60 every game.
he's not scoring,
What
bro.
are you talking about? Who's stopping him?
Oh my gosh. Who's your
Who?
six
But
man? Who's your
uh,
six man?
Manu
I like that.
Ginobili.
I like
Yeah,
that.
we win championship DNA on my team. What you talking about? Championship DNA on my team. Marcus Camby, he didn't win one, but he got the Knicks to their last one.
He
He was
did.
on the Knicks when they were in their last one. So you know how nice you gotta be to be there? Telling you. So there was an 8 seed, bro. Like, get out of
Yeah.
here. Stop playing me. Mitch Richmond, he not a championship DNA, but the man can shoot. We know he score. It don't matter. He played for the Kings. That franchise. We were just talking about how bad they are. He had them looking good. So I'm saying.
Y'all not gonna score enough. Obviously, you already know who my six man is gonna be. Jamal Crawford.
Oh, I knew it. I knew
Jamal Crawford
I
is gonna
love
come
him.
off the bench and light y'all up.
Cooking.
There's no your team isn't going to score enough. Your team will
That's
not
true.
score enough.
But we have great defense. We
It'll
have
be a
great
battle.
defense.
It'll be
We
a
have
battle.
great defense. It would be a battle. I'm telling you, you think you're gonna just come in the paint and do all that Marcus Camby and Moses Malone? Moses Malone, old school. He be elbowing and he from the he from he from before these flagrant fouls or whatever y'all talking about. Those is common fouls when he was playing.
Facts.
He
Facts.
come up into my paint, boy. These is common fouls from when he played. They didn't even. I don't even think they had flagrant fouls back then
They probably
in
didn't,
in
honestly.
the 70s and 80s.
You know what I need? I need one of
His
these.
film is crazy though. Have you watched YouTubes of him
Oh,
of Moses
absolutely.
Malone? Yo,
Absolutely.
he like these guys, the bigs today need to watch the bigs of yesterday. Their footwork. Their footwork was what that's
Yeah.
because that's the league used to be about bigs. It's
Yes.
about guards and wings now, but it used to be about bigs. And these guys had such great football. Like, oh, our footwork. Watch Kareem, yo.
Current, yeah, he's the poster child of
The
footwork.
footwork and just being able to manipulate a defender, get him to go where you want him to go, and then I just like
It,
a unstoppable shot, unblockable shot. I think he got blocked like twice in his whole career on that shot.
You know what I need? I need one of those people because I don't know how to do it. I feel like you got to do it on a computer, but I need somebody to pull up like 2K and make these rosters and
Yeah.
do a
Like a
7 game series.
simulated,
Yeah, and
like a
simulate it
simulated series.
because
We'll do it.
I need just validation that my team would blow
We'll
yours
pull
out
it
the
up.
water. So,
They wouldn't. I'm just saying, like defensively, we're too good.
all right, we'll see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Elbows.
throw them bows.
Yeah, coming in my
Um,
lane.
before we get out of here, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Super Bowl is this Sunday. Your Philadelphia Eagles are facing off against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs looking for history. They're looking to three-peat. Never been done in the NFL. The Eagles are looking to get their second Super Bowl ring,
All
and
time.
and I've been flip flopping on who I think is going to win this game. I'm going to let you go first because I know who you're going to pick. But let me know what you think the final score is going to be for your Philadelphia Eagles.
Listen, uh, the last one was 38-35. I think we're gonna get the same exact score again, but in favor of the Birds. 38-35 Eagles. It's gonna be action packed, high flying. It's gonna this game's gonna have everything. This game is gonna have everything because both of these teams are like the Chiefs are just they've been here before. They're not gonna be moved by the moment, but the Eagles are just it I feel like it's their time. Like it's just everything has gone right for them. The injuries, they've been surprisingly healthy. Even though they had in the championship game the situation with the center, they had Landon Dickerson,
Yeah.
playing center, and then he got hurt, and then Jurgens, who's the starting center, was out or not, but not out, and then he came back at halftime and finished the game just for the last half. Like, the Saquon signing, everything just coming together, finding Zach Bond, like this guy was a special teams player. And now he's gonna probably be the highest paid linebacker in the entire NFL next year. I mean, he might be defensive player of the year this year. This is what I'm saying. Everything has gone right. All the moves that Howie Roseman made have worked out. The draft picks, the taking the chance on Jalen Carter, who had a situation in college that he
Yeah.
got into. I don't want to call it no disrespect to anybody, but just a situation. But I don't want to like talk about
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
him. That's
Yeah.
his thing.
Yep.
But he had there were character issues. Let's call them that they were, when teams shied away from him, he fell to the Eagles at 10, and the rest is history. We got a number one pick at the 10 spot, jumping the Giants, who were going to go after Devontae Smith to get Devontae Smith in the draft. They traded up to go get him. AJ Brown sided him, a guy who Jalen was familiar with, who he knew since high school. Like all these things, and every chance, every little thing has come together, and I just feel like it's their time right now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's their time right now. Things are working out. Sirianni, man, like I've been critical of him. The media certainly has been critical of him.
100%.
Everybody has, but like the players love him. They play hard for him. He's made decisions. He's been accountable for his bad decisions, and he hasn't ran from it, man. And in this kind of city, in Philadelphia, those fans, the fans that we all are. I'm not from Philadelphia, but I'm an Eagles fan. We're demanding. We want to win, and he's taken it all in stride, man. He's done a great job. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody, and let's go Birds, man. Fly Eagles, fly. You know what it is. 38-35 Birds.
All right.
Go Birds.
So I'm a Cowboys fan. Don't got a dog in the fight. Obviously, I would love for the Eagles not to win. I texted you a couple weeks ago that I would love to see Saquon win, but I just don't like if there is a way he could win the Super Bowl, but the Eagles not, then that would be my option. But all that said, as much as I love the Chiefs, I'm a big Patrick Mahomes fan. I love seeing greatness. I love seeing dynasties. Like I would
Me
love
too.
to see history. But I think I've changed my mind. The Eagles, offensive line, defensive line, dominant both sides of the ball.
Dominant.
Saquon's been incredible, obviously. And uh, I don't know, man. I'm really leaning towards Eagles at this point. Um, as of Wednesday, February 5th at 7:30, I'm going 31-20 Eagles to win
31-20
the Super
Eagles. If
Bowl.
they run away with it like that, I would be thrilled. Listen, like I like the Chiefs too. Let me I obviously don't want them to win, but like any other year, if it was like, or excuse me, if it was against any other team, I would want to see this three-peat.
Sure.
I like history. I like living through history, especially sports history.
Yep.
But the last team that tried to bust a three-peat on us was the Patriots,
True.
and you know who stopped them. And
Big
guess who's back?
stick.
Guess who's back for the Super Bowl? He's trying to play. BG, Brandon Graham, who made the sack, the strip
Is he
sack
really?
fumble on Tom Brady. He tore his tricep
Yeah.
in late December. He's coming back. He's been cleared. He's practicing. He made the trip. He's gonna try and go out there and give it a go. And I mean, they got
I
guys.
like it.
But even if he gives us a couple snaps, man, like think about that, bro. Like just the
The
emotion of
boost,
that.
the morale. Yeah.
He's the oldest player on the team, the longest tenured player on the team. He's been there since 2010. Like this is his 15th year with the Eagles. Only played with the Eagles. He's the only player from Michigan I've ever liked, ever. And that's real, yo. So Brandon Graham, like, look, just him suiting up will mean so much to that defense.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio, I gotta shout out to him. He had a rough time head coaching, had a rough time with the Broncos, in their defense, but like, man, he has learned his lessons and and he's come here and he's really took this defense that was last place last year in almost every statistical category, and he's turned them into a first place defense this year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I've been digging into next gen stats, how the Eagles play on turf, bro. Like we give up 11 points per game,
I
the
heard that
lowest in the
stat.
league
I
on
heard that.
turf. It's crazy. I read South Antonio told me that. Like I'm talking like this. I'm digging in deep. I've been in next gen stats, all that, everything. Like we're going. We're going. It's
I like
our
it.
time.
I
Yeah,
like
I
it.
don't care if it's a 16 play drive, Saquon 16 4-yard carries. Like let's just go. Let's do what the Chiefs. The part of their run that's special is that I believe, and this is truly me. They're going for their fourth championship, their third in a row. I believe that two of those three teams that they lost to were better than them, or that they beat, excuse me, were better than them. Like those
That's
San
fair.
Francisco teams are excuse me, that first Eagles team and the San Francisco team were better than them. Jalen Hurts played better than him, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Everybody says
He
that
did.
in
Yeah.
that game. And then the first 49ers team, not last year, the first one, that team was better. Like healthy McCaffrey, healthy like you know what I mean? Like this they had him. So I think the Chiefs just find a way to win. So
Yeah.
that is what the Eagles got. That's their task. You gotta. It's all about effort and execution. You gotta execute well. No mistakes. Jalen, you've been taking care of the football. Keep taking care of football. Saquon, hold on to that thing. Got like don't be Mark Andrews and out there trying to make too much happen. Get your catches. Get that. Like just go. Just play and make plays. That's it. Keep it under third and longs. I want third and six or less. If we even get the third downs, all those things, and just keep the clock moving. Keep 15 for their team off the field. And if it is close in the fourth quarter, don't give it back.
Yeah.
Don't give it back.
Mark Andrews catching a stray
I
during
know.
the during Super Bowl
I'm
week is
sorry. I'm
crazy,
sorry,
but
Mark.
it is it is what it is.
What's his name? Dalton Kincaid too. All these dropping,
Yeah.
dropping, dropping ass boy.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. We'll be back with you guys next week. We'll
Go Birds.
Everybody's gonna be locked into the Super Bowl. There's been people saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch." You're gonna
Yeah.
watch the Super Bowl. You're gonna watch the Super Bowl.
Kendrick performing at halftime. Stupid. You're
um,
watching.
yeah. Yo, you saw? I don't know if you saw my tweet from earlier. Kendrick Kendrick performing at the Super Bowl got Luther Vandross tweeting today. I was like, yo,
Yo,
I was.
He is at an all-time high. Like this is one of the I tweeted that this is one of the greatest 10-month runs that we've ever seen in
It
music
really
history.
is. It
And I
really
mean
is.
the sweep at the Grammys. Now he adds to all the other accolades, and then he's gonna cap this thing with a stadium tour after he does starts it with the Super Bowl halftime
Yep.
show. He's
Yep.
starting his stadium tour with a Super
Big
Bowl
as a
halftime show.
what? Big
Big
as a
as a
what?
Super Bowl. Oh boy. But then Drake was out there in Perth, Australia, also in a sold out massive
Yeah.
rugby soccer stadium. Like, yo, Drake, all right. Yo,
Drake's gonna be fine. I just need him to stop being corny.
yeah, he survived all this. He didn't lose a single fan. If anybody liked Drake before, nobody doesn't that liked Drake
Yeah.
before doesn't like him now.
Yeah.
They're like he didn't lose a single fan from this. All he got was dudes who already hated him and liked Kendrick. They just speaking louder now, and they can because Kendrick won the battle.
Yeah.
But Drake gonna drop hits. He got the party thing coming next week. I can't wait for
That's
that.
right. Yeah.
Be all for something, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a beautiful life. Drake about
Yeah.
to get back to the basics. Start singing on them again.
Yeah. Just give me some good music. I don't need you
That's it.
change. I don't need you changing lyrics about LeBron
Yeah. Don't
again.
reinvent
Like,
the wheel.
just give me good music, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Don't and no more AI, Aubrey.
Yeah.
Okay. Leave that AI alone. Leave that to the nerds.
With that said, let's get out of here. I'm Johnell. I'm with my guy, Matt Price, Cash Walking. We will be locked into the Super Bowl. I don't want the Eagles to win, but
Still
you're
hustle
my
till the
guy,
sun go
so
down.
I would like to
Crack a
see him win.
40 when the sun go down. It's a cold winter. Y'all
Y'all
just better
better
bundle
bundle
up.
up.
Yeah, we about to da 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 da. Even though what we do is wrong.